Good morning. It is a pretty cold morning here in Canada, minus 25 degrees. I wanted to be outside, but here we are indoors. We're talking about purpose. This is our third video. In the first video, we talked about the fact that Homo sapiens are here. And any creature that's here on Earth means that they've gone through a very careful selection process so that what we arrive with in our behaviors and our genetics means that we are a good fit for where we are. So you're a good fit. You're meant to be here in that way. In the second video, we talked about an analogy of vitamin C and just understanding that the process to develop Homo sapiens is millions of years old. And that's a wonderful, careful process. Again, making sure that you're the right fit. When we think about natural selection, often we think about, these survival tools like a tiger. It's got those sharp claws and the powerful jaws and the teeth and the camouflage, and all of those things add to their survival. Natural selection. But what about a peacock, right? If you think about all the elaborate feathers and the dance that they do, where's their survival tools? Right? Maybe they have something about their feet that can, dig up a grub or, a seed, and their beak can then harvest those things. But why the big, beautiful, elaborate feathers? In fact, those things don't help with survival. They're like, hey, look at me, I'm over here, right? And I've got this fancy dance, and everything is drawing attention to this creature. And as you can see in this video, right, this creature's got to then fly away, and those are heavy feathers, and it's got to escape. And so here we have this tiger, the environment keeping this peacock in check, making sure those feathers aren't too elaborate, too heavy, too whatever. So it's got pressure from the environment. But why the blue feathers and the colorful feathers and the dance? And so you have the peahen, right? The peahen, the female, putting pressure or preferring. The female prefers certain behaviors and certain traits that over time forces that male to then change. And so we've got sexual selection underneath the umbrella of natural selection, where the female, or sometimes it's the male, that prefers something, and that drives those changes. So we've got elaborate dances, for example. Think about the difference between a tiger and a lion, right? If I was to ask you, what's the name for a group of lions? A what of lions? Now, how about, what is the name for a group of tigers? Right? The word does exist, but you probably don't know what it is, and I'm not gonna tell you. You can look it up if you want. But tigers sometimes form a very small group, a family group maybe, or a couple of tigers for a while. But they're not like lions, where you've got this pride, a group of lions, a community of lions. And in those communities, the lions put pressure on each other, or the lions prefer certain behaviors from their fellow lions. That's called group selection. The group pressures the lions. So maybe lions prefer companions that help with the hunt, cooperate on the hunt. And if you don't cooperate, there could be punishment, or you're pushed out. And so over time, in the genetics, we see cooperation. In meerkats, we might see vigilance, standing watch, right? And so the group expects that and prefers that. Or food sharing is another one. Here's a really cool video. So you've got these two monkeys, capuchin monkeys, and in this experiment, as you can see, the human will give the monkey a rock, and the monkey has to give the rock back. And in exchange, the human will give the monkey a piece of cucumber. And these monkeys will do this, they'll eat this way 25 times in a row, over and over and over, no problem. But watch what happens as soon as the human gives the monkey on the right a grape. See, this monkey freaks out because there's this sense of fairness, right? And so here, this group, and remember, monkeys are a social group, they they prefer fairness. And in fact, if they do this experiment, and this experiment has been done with birds and I think other creatures, I want to say rats, maybe dogs or something like that, but it's the same idea that certain social groups have these preferences in behaviors. And so these preferences shape these creatures to behave in certain ways, and that ends up in their genetics. Okay, so we have natural selection, right? And underneath that, we've got sexual selection and group selection, and all of those things were around when you and I, our ancestors, were being formed. So humans experienced group selection and sexual selection. So think about humans, early humans, like a long time ago. We're in very small groups. We're trying to survive. We're out hunting, or maybe we're protecting our little group from other groups, right? We gotta cooperate, and so as we're interacting, the group itself is putting pressure on how we behave. So I want to throw out some words at you. You can think about our early, and think about what behaviors have made their way into our genetics. Don't think about you yourself. Like you might be you're a good person, but you probably do some pretty bad things as well. So don't just think about yourself, and don't think about news headlines where things are strange behaviors make their way into the news. Think about every human baby on earth, right? What babies are born with, the genetics that they're born with. Think about these words: social or antisocial, cooperative or uncooperative. How about selfish versus bonding? So when you start to think about those words, and which one would more better describe the characteristics of a human baby across planet Earth, then we can start to think, oh, okay, this is what ancient humans preferred and expected, and that shaped the behaviors and the genetics. We'll get into some studies later. I'm just starting here to get you to think. It's kind of cool as we're figuring out our purpose, to figure out what we see behaviorally in humans in general. Yeah, we see some pretty bad behaviors, but not all, right? So think about sexual selection among humans, right? Okay, we got this small community, we're out on a hunt, we're coordinating, we're collaborating, we've got communication going. Then I come back after the hunt, and is it that maybe the male in this community is just a big, strong, and beating up all the other males? Think about a male elk with those big antlers chasing away all the other male elk, and then having all the female elk, that's it. It's the harem, right? They get to mate with all the females. Is that what it was like for early humans? Is that what early humans preferred in a mate selection? Is that what the females preferred? Is that what the males preferred? One strong male that's walking around raping and abusing and pushing out all the other males. Is that what the society was like, do you think? Or did females and males preferred more of that communication, cooperation, collaboration? Just putting the ideas out there. We'll look at the studies, and there are some fascinating studies on this very topic later. But I just want to put the bug in your ear. Humans, Homo sapiens, are incredibly social creatures. And so when you're thinking about your purpose, part of your purpose is to make very close social connections. That's part of your genetics. And so you don't have to be a big extrovert with all kinds of friends and out in public making all kinds of, loud, here I am. But you need close friendship circles with people that you connect with socially. Cooperation is another one. Humans cooperate better than any other species on the planet. It's just part of our genetics to bond and cooperate. So if you have a group of people and you're solving problems, man, that's what humans were so good at. Their big brains. They could solve problems in a way that other maybe homo groups couldn't. And so that's part of our special capabilities, part of our genetics. So you're in a group, it could be a book club and you're figuring things out, or a gardening club. You could be seeing things in your community that where there's problems, and you're going to solve them, right? There's poverty or people in need, and you can figure out ways to make communities better. You're making social connections, you are cooperating and solving problems. Now you're getting at some of the keys to your purpose, but there's even more. And it's really fascinating once we start looking at some studies of human infants. It's really cool, but that'll be another video for the future. Talk to you later. Thanks for watching.